Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of A Splash of Paint, brought to you in association with the SAA, Society for All Artists. Today's programme is bursting with 60 colourful minutes of all the latest tips, demonstrations and exercises to help inspire your artistic passion and encourage you to try something new. Let's get started and take a look at what creative treats are coming up on today's packed programme. Contemporary artist Marion Dutton works her charm with oils to paint a panoramic beach scene in today's Try Your Hand At project. Versatile landscape and wildlife artist David Hyde throws some light on how watercolours can be used to soften, blend and add a touch of brilliance to the darker areas of your paintings. And we'll be introducing you to the wonderful work of up-and-coming SAA professional artist Rachel McNaughton, as she demonstrates how to add beautiful wet-into-wet backgrounds to a fabulous watercolour flower. But before all that, I'm going to show you how to use single point perspective to make all the sides of an object move in the same direction until it disappears into the vanishing point. So to demonstrate this, I've got a box, it's a DVD cover, and if this is level with your eyes or the horizon, what you notice is that the lines stay perfectly straight. But as the person viewing the object, it could be a house or something, gets lower than this, what you start to see is that the angles actually go down to meet the horizon or the eye level, and this is where the vanishing point is. And then we go for the opposite direction, and notice the angle change, it starts to go up to meet it. This is the basis of perspective. And to show this in action on a piece of paper, you start off by putting the eye level on, which is also called the horizon line, and it literally is just a straight line. Now, somewhere on this line, normally in the centre, is the person's eye. So everybody's got the eye line, and this is where all things disappear to. So if we was to say, draw a block above this, just a basic rectangular shape, and I'll also do one below. It's good to have a basic knowledge of perspective. One thing not to do is to go too mad with it because it can be confusing. So that's just a couple of basic blocks there. And then these vanish off into the distance. So what you do is you now put a faint guideline going from the points of the object until they go to the vanishing point. And in most cases you'll just get 3 of them. It depends where it is on the actual page. So very faint guidelines. And then all we do is we just basically match these up as a parallel. So if you, the top one first, match the line down there. Same with the bottom one. Make sure they're parallel to the original lines that you put on. And then just go over those first lines again, and you can now see a 3-dimensional block. And of course, if the light was coming down this way, sun, it would catch this side, making that side a fraction darker. And the underneath would be the darkest, getting the least light. And that's the basic way of doing perspective. And just quickly to show you the one on the bottom, again, match the lines parallel across the top and just connect them together. Use the same light source so it's catching the top of this one. So that side would be slightly darker and this side is extremely darker. Again, making the perspective very simple. Now in the real world, you're not going to do boxes, but what you would do is you might do a row of houses. So if we put a gable end of a house there, which would start off as a rectangular shape with a central pointed triangle to the top, and then you use this vanishing point from the 3 points, and using the same system of matching the lines, you can then go down, match the lines for the roof, there's your building, and that could be a row of houses. So I'd put another one on there, and you could, in theory, go to infinity with this. So I'll just pop one more on just to give you the idea of how simple perspectives can be. And hopefully that explains the complicated subject that is perspective. Single point perspective is really one of the simplest ways of depicting a three-dimensional object. Have a go and see how it brings things to life. Now it's time to settle back and enjoy part one of today's Try Your Hand At project. Let's join contemporary artist Marion Dutton as she works her charm with oils to paint a beautiful panoramic beach scene.
Okay, so we're doing a beautiful beach scene today. This is a wet on wet oil painting technique. So we're going to begin by wetting the canvas. And we do that obviously not with water but with oils. So I'm going to go into some linseed oil, into some titanium white, and as well as wetting the canvas, I'm actually going to tint it at the same time. So I'm going to tint it into a grey, and I'm using burnt sienna and some ultramarine blue. And I'm going to scrub this colour into the weave of the canvas. A little bit more blue on that. Now I do this because I want the colours to be mixed on the canvas, so you've got a nice uneven mix. And it's not just a flat colour like you were painting your walls. So I'm just going to scrub this all over. If I want it a little bit warmer, I'll add a touch more of the sienna. And if I want it a little bit cooler, I'll add a touch more of the blue. So you've got this lovely brushed mixed effect. And this is going to establish the tone of the entire painting. So I'm covering the whole canvas. I'm using a large bristle brush here. You don't want to be using a nice synthetic here. You want a nice bristle brush so that you're able to scrub this into the weave of the canvas. You can see how much pressure I'm putting on. So we'll cover the whole thing in this sort of lovely blue-grey colour, and keeping it nice and random, keeping all the brush strokes uneven. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, once I've got the canvas covered, I'm going to begin to establish the horizon line. And I'm switching to a smaller bristle brush for that. And I'm going into some blue, a little touch of the sienna, a little bit of white. I'm still going with this grey, but just a slightly darker tone than what I've already got. Now, this is going to be a very low horizon line. And it's actually going to blend quite seamlessly into the sky. It's going to be very misty and fade out, so you're not quite sure where one meets the next. So this is going to be my sea area. So once I've established the horizon line, I'm going to start throwing in some colour into the sky. Just wipe away that excess paint. And I'm going to go into some cadmium orange. And I'm still with the bristle brush. I'm just going to fling in some colour. I'm keeping this really loose. Just get some of that colour into the sky area. And whatever you do above, you need to bring down. So I'm going to throw that into the sea area and the wet beach area. Wipe the brush. Now I'm going to go with some yellow. This is cadmium yellow. I want to start establishing a few lighter areas. Again, I'm keeping everything loose. Now we will be blending this, so it looks a little rough at the moment, and that's all okay. Keeps your painting nice and soft. And I'm going to throw in also some titanium white just to get some really brighter areas into this sky. And again, whatever I do above, I need to repeat underneath so that the reflection is in the sea and in the wet sand area. Okay. So once I've got the colour in the sky, I'm going to switch to a very large blending mop, and I'm lightly going to soften the whole area. Okay, switching back now to the bristle brush, I'm just going to dip that into some thinner and clean away the orange from earlier. And I'm going to make some clouds, and I'm going to use a nice purplish tone for that. And that's made with alizarin crimson and some ultramarine blue and some titanium white. Now those colours on their own give you a very vibrant purple, so I'm going to just add in a little bit of sienna to dull that down. I'm looking for a nice dull purple tone. I'm going to go a little bluer, so a little on the red side. And the best way to test obviously is take this up to the canvas. Again, I think I might go a little bluer with that. Now I'm using the brush with an overhand grip, and I'm just going to begin doing some small circular motions. Keep moving your arm so that you get these nice random shapes. Bring a lighter, bring some of this cloud over this area. So we're just going to have these rolling clouds hovering over the ocean. May throw in another one up here. Again, I'm just keeping things nice and soft. And we'll have a little guy floating all the way over here. Now I need to soften those. So I'm switching now to a small blending brush, and I'm going to go in and start to just stir these clouds. I'm looking for getting the bottom of these clouds to just vanish out and dissolve into the sky area. You don't want any hard edges, keeping it lovely and soft. Now we will be highlighting these. So this is just the shadowed part of the clouds. So I want the bottom of these clouds to just melt. And then I'm going to switch now to some titanium white and start to get in a little bit of a highlight. Now you don't just want to outline these, you can create different layers. And we'll do the one above, again creating different layers, and we'll do this little guy over here as well. Now I found the best way to blend these is using your finger, a little bit of finger painting, and we'll blend these in, and you're enabled then to use your finger to adjust the shapes, the top part of these clouds. And I found that this is given a much more realistic shape. What I'm interested in really is getting rid of the hard line between the shadowed colour and the highlight colour. You can't beat a little bit of finger painting. And then finally I'm going to soften the whole area using the large mop again, keeping things nice and soft, and that sits the clouds down into the sky area. So we'll come back later on and I'll show you how to complete the rest of this beach scene.
Fantastic style there, Marion. Great blending, really helps the horizon melt into the background, and I can't wait to see you finish the painting in part 2 later on in today's programme. Well folks, it's time for us to take a little break now, but join us in part 2 when versatile landscape and wildlife artist David Hyde drops in the Splashy Paint studio to throw some light onto an effective watercolour technique that you can use to soften, blend and add a touch of brilliance to the darker areas of your paintings in today's Art Bite project. I'll see you soon.